Hey guys, another beautiful Monday morning. Dylan's just getting in some skill training in the background here, working on his punches and using his stomach to develop power. Anyway, this week's theme is going to be footwork. I want you to look at footwork from a number of different angles if you can. I'm going to give you a couple of examples, so just give me half a sec. Really basic stuff like getting your people just moving forward, making sure they're driving off their leg, not stepping and sliding. It's a push. The push should come from the hip and then stepping out more up. So they push off their toes, roll their hip a little bit, come through. Same thing when they're going back, driving off and letting this foot slide back. So really pushing off this leg, slide, and then pulling up with their body. If they're using their punches, then they should be using their abdominal muscles to move those hands. So if I'm going forward, I stretch out, throw my hip, my stomach hard, and that'll bring my leg up. So then it's not step, step, then it's one and drive up. Okay, that's number one. Here's a quick refresh on stepping off. Make sure you go forward slightly so your weight comes across onto the ball of the lead leg. Keep the head slightly forward so the chin and nose are in line with the front knee. This gives a good tilt through the body, so when we drive off that back leg, we're spinning in the center of the axis. If my head's back or my body's back a little bit and I try and spin, then my body weight will get thrown off. So much easier when you're getting into the work of it to drop into the shot, so the shoulder leans forward, the nose is forward, and then the spin happens easily. Or alternatively, if the hands are up and you're parrying, that your head is slightly forward. As soon as it's back, very difficult. Same thing when you go to the opposite side, keep the head forward. Try not to let your students step and drop their head back, or they'll find it very difficult to step off. It's like it's been a long time since we've talked about switching and blitzing, so let's just have a quick look at the switch and blitz. Switch is off the lead leg. I'm going to use it by switching my hip. So my hip's going to flick and my foot's going to come back. So I'm flicking one hip, driving the other. So not thinking of hip staying still and a big jump or pop. It's flicking the hip, using my abdominal muscle, stomach to switch, feet change, then I'm ready to knee, kick, whatever. So if I do a push kick, I'll switch my hip, hop, and then drive off. If I'm doing a switch knee, I'll switch my hip, hop, and knee up. So get your people, when they're first starting, they can practice doing a hopping switch, but you don't want to stay on there too long because they're going to forget about their hips. So then you just get them flicking their hip, and then flick their hip and change their feet. Even if at the start, they start rotating too far, this sort of action. It's okay to start with. Then you want to get them used to switching and controlling their feet. But to start with, over rotation, it's okay as long as they're getting used to the drive of the body. Then you just shorten it up and up. Then you get them to go really short. So short flick and short movement with the leg. Looked at blitz for a while, so I'll just quickly recap on that for you. Again, sometimes when we're teaching the blitz, we think about just the action of the feet. So we get a lift, step, and a push. And that's okay, you can get some drive off it. But again, it's mainly the abdominal and the hip action that you want. So flick of the hip, and then it's because I'm flicking my hip that my foot needs to adjust to give my balance and to get me to pop up. So get your people started with step in, then start getting them to think about how do they drive that hip. So I want this hip to go back and then forward. And then that's just going to give that foot just a little bit of movement to get that balance. So if I come up with a round kick, pop. If I come up with my knee, pop. So it's just that driving power through that switch. So body back, up. 1, 2. So that's where that little foot movement will come from. You'll really notice this when you're doing knees, particularly if you're doing it from a clinch type position, that sort of action will come in. And same with the left one, you can really use that stomach. So clinch knees, or holding the bag, or working the partner is a really good way for them to practice that body movement with their switches and blitzes. And last one I want to look at is just with the uppercut and the hook, how our body works with that. So when we throw the uppercut, we generally start off by showing people how to step with it and bring their body up so they can push off their leg. But the actual action is again through that stomach. So if I throw my stomach, my foot, or if I throw my hip comes forward, my foot's naturally got to drag up. Then I control where it goes. So if I just drag up and I go out of control, they're not much used to it. So when I flick, I then take control of it, so I angle my leg so it matches my body. So when I'm driving up, it's because I'm getting that drive. And same when I do my hook, it's not so much that I want to step out or step across, that's for distance, targeting and range, but the action is just because I flick my hip fast, flick my shoulder fast, and my foot needs to correspond to it. So if I'm narrow and I flick fast, then my foot will go out to get my balance. If I'm wide and I flick, then my foot will come in because that's where my power is going. So it's more about the way your body moves and then controlling at the end of it. Of course, when we've got beginner students, we need to be more careful in showing them how to place their foot and how to line things up. But once they've got that, really start getting to think about that movement through their body, how their hips drive to help generate the power. Thanks guys.